So we've been talking a lot about carbon emissions in this talk, and I kind of want to digress a little bit because I feel like talking about air pollution in cities is kind of the immediate and urgent need that a lot of people kind of viscerally feel and identify with.
Sorry
So
to interrupt there, Sherry. Was
Go
that a key trigger for you to opt for an EV at the first place? Or
that
one of
was
the key
that was
triggers?
so. For me, it was a very kind of a public health thing, and as a cyclist, my children are cycling on the street occasionally, so that was a very important factor for me because it's a gas chamber on the road. You're on the road, you're breathing in the emissions, you feel it. And the children are sitting in buses, they're on cycles. It's a very immediate thing that we want to do, and as Sir said, Agarwal sir talked about the vicious cycle, right? So you're talking about people who, if they can afford it, will not want to walk or cycle or take public transportation, which we know are the right kind of priorities for transportation, because they will because the air pollution is very great. So then the vicious cycle is that then they will insist on taking a car and for shorter and shorter trips, and that will add to the congestion and the pollution and all the problems that you're feeling. So that is kind of the second vicious cycle that we're seeing here. And the other thing is that there are two things that we want to kind of focus on here. One is that the traffic is causing congestion, right? There's traffic jams everywhere you go, and like in a Delhi or a Gurgaon, that would be every 100 meters we'll have this massive traffic jam. And so that's the number of vehicles. And the second is the kind of the pollution that is being caused by the vehicles. So on a demand side, if you want people to kind of uptake more EVs, you have the supply side mandates, you have the demand drivers, but you also have to start looking at things like LEZs. So you're seeing in cities around Europe is that when you restrict the number of vehicles that can enter a zone, a particularly congested kind of a hotspot zone of high pollution, high emissions, then not only are you reducing the congestion, which opens the way for things like buses to move faster, which is one of the biggest problems we're having with buses in the NCR region, is that they're coming too late, they're moving too slowly. You're also opening the way for non-motorized transport. Becomes much more safer, becomes much less polluted. And then you're choosing those few vehicles that are the least polluting to allow them on the road, right? So you're reducing the traffic dramatically and you're converting the kind of fleet to electric. And so then that obviously also creates like a huge incentive for people to move to EV. So that was kind of my two things that I wanted to add for this, as a cyclist, as a mother, kind of playing on the women's side. And that's something that we're doing is creating these low emission zones in areas. Talking about areas like heritage sites, we're talking about really, really polluted, narrow street kind of city centers. You're looking at, I would think that entire cities like Delhi and Gurgaon, which should count as low emission zone, because we're looking at, London and some of these places where you've really succeeded in creating these very the low emission zones that dramatically cut emissions for the city with healthcare benefits.